Hi, this is Ethan Nowaski with Avatar Physics, Book 2, Electric Boogaloo. As you probably could have guessed, this is the second part in the Avatar Physics series, and if you want to see the first part, you can find it below in the description from Emerald Wind's channel. Now, if you recall from the last video, the situation that our Team Avatar is in, they had just surfaced their submarine so they could release some pressure that had been building up inside. And as a result of this, Fire Princess Azula, who had been chasing and tracking them, hops onto the top of the submarine preparing for a fight. Now, Earthbender, Toph, who feels vibrations through her feet, recognized this, and she warned Sokka, who was steering the vessel, but startled by this news, Sokka accidentally makes a wrong turn in a fork in the river and sends Team Avatar into a dangerous predicament. This dangerous predicament takes the form of a waterfall, which they happen to fall over the edge of. Now, luckily for Team Avatar and their submarine, very briefly, a vine, a very, very sturdy vine, wraps itself around the submarine and holds it in place and stops its fall for a brief second. And as it's holding it, the vine and the submarine, so this submarine vine, tends to, it begins swinging back and forth in the motion of a pendulum. So that gets us to our first question, which is, if we are given the vine and submarine's length, what is the period of this submarine pendulum? Now, after a brief stint as a pendulum, the submarine falls into the water below, and so does Azula, and they both cause different splashes. And as these two splashes interact in the water, they superimpose with one another. And so that gets us to our next question, which is, if we are actually given these two individual wave functions, let's graph their superimposed position versus time graphs. Next up, if we think a little bit, we know that the submarine, as it was falling, it was accelerating towards the water. Now, after the vine snaps, can we find the final velocity of the submarine just before it collides with the water, given we know its mass, which we know from the first video, the gravity of Earth, or the Earth planet that Avatar resembles, and the distance between the top of the waterfall and the water below, and the length of the vine. So, after we calculate that, the submarine is now underwater, as it had just fallen into the water from the waterfall. And one thing that Team Avatar quickly realizes is that this water has different and strange properties compared to that of the water that they were previously in. So this new water begins rising the submarine towards the surface of the water, as compared to before, where the buoyant force was equal to the weight force of the submarine, and it required Katara and Aang's water bending to bring it to the surface. Now the submarine is surfacing on its own due to the greater buoyant force. So the next question that we're going to ask is, if we know this new buoyant force, what is the density of this new spirit water that the gang happened to coincidentally fall into? Now, after we know that, we can recognize that the submarine reaches the surface of the water, and because of the force that the submarine breached the water with, it begins to bob up and down in coincidentally, a simple harmonic oscillation with a dampener. So which gets us to our next question, which is, if we know this dampening constant, let's find the position of the submarine at any given time. And after that, the gang realizes that this spirit water has another interesting property compared to before, which is that this water, the spirit water, tends to be much colder than before, and so the gang now wants to know if we know the initial temperature of the metal of the submarine, the specific heats of the water in the metal, what is the change in heat of the metal of the submarine, and if this submarine isn't very well insulated and the change of the temperature also affects the inside of the submarine, what is the new pressure inside? So that'll be our final question that we're going to look at in Avatar Physics Book 2 Electric Boogaloo today. And that concludes this video with Ethan Nowaski. Have a nice day and hope to see you soon. Thank you.